You put away your gun, how you stopped fighting. It was right. It still is. You can still be like that again.
I can't be who I was. It's different now.
Before Mom died, she told me that I was gonna beat this world. You will.
Hey guys, Kiwi here. In this video, I'll be breaking down and analyzing the brand new trailer for Season 8B of The Walking Dead, or rather, the mid-Season 8 trailer. I guess they decided to not call it Season 8A and Season 8B. I guess they thought that didn't sound good, but the trailer is called Nightmare. It's about 1.5 minutes long, and I'm pretty hyped because it's February, the return of The Walking Dead is just around the corner, airing on the 25th. That being said, they've released 2 new promo trailers back to back at the beginning of February, and as I've said, I'm extremely hyped but a little bit overwhelmed. I just finished breaking down and analyzing the original 30-second promo trailer that released yesterday, or I guess 2 days ago, and now we've got a trailer that's like 1.5 minutes long. Due to the length, I've broken the trailer up into 4 different segments, the first of which involves everything about Carl, which you already saw. I'll link the trailer in the description, but there's a bunch of Carl stuff at the beginning and the end of the trailer, so I just combined those 2 into one. This trailer is very hype, but it is also very touching. Thankfully, they don't seem to spoil too much of the Carl stuff, as what they showed in this trailer was definitely effective enough. Not gonna lie, Carl's final words to Rick at the end of the trailer gave me chills. When Carl mentions Lori and whatnot, just hearing that gave me the feels, so I can only imagine how sad I'll be watching the damn episode itself. But that being said, let's go ahead and discuss the beginning of what Carl starts saying to Rick at the beginning of the trailer, because right off the bat we get a little taste of multiple conversations to come involving Carl being a huge moral compass for Rick and how he handles the rest of the war. This is original to the show, and none of it happened in the comics, just like Carl's death in general. Now, briefly, in the comics, Rick was actually the one who wanted to spare Negan's life originally at the end of the war, proving that he's better than him and also above killing. Carl was the one who just wanted to kill Negan constantly, but in the show, it seems to be the complete opposite, because in the show, Rick seems to be the one determined to kill Negan, considering he's stated it multiple times in every trailer, even this one. And speaking of which, I have a full video discussing how Scott Gimple explained that Carl was going to change Rick's mind about wanting to kill everyone, like all the saviors and Negan, but to make a long story short, Gimple pretty much confirmed that Carl's death will be the determining factor that eventually causes Rick to spare Negan's life at the end of the war one way or another. Now, I actually have a video planned for the near future where I jump into why I personally feel like they should have killed off Morgan instead of Carl here, as far as Morgan being the reason to spare lives and whatnot, because Morgan has already been the one set up to make Rick believe that all life is precious, and even though Morgan's head is a little bit corrupted right now, there's still a lot of potential there. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next part of the trailer.
Appears our friends had themselves an escape plan. They are out there somewhere.
You're sure going to Hilltop's the best plan? All of you in one place together.
All of us together will be their worst damn nightmare.
So as we get more clips of Daryl leading the Alexandrians through the woods to the hilltop, we get more glances at these crazy forest swamp zombies. I suppose that this is their way of adding some more zombie action to the mid-season premiere, which I'm definitely not complaining. Maybe Sadiq will bring up how he pays respects to his mother by killing zombies to rest their souls. Anyways, next we're shown a few clips of Negan in his meeting room at the sanctuary, same as the previous trailer, except this time we see who he's talking to, because the second clip shows him turned around and talking to Simon with Lucille still on the table. After the last trailer, I wondered who Negan was going to have a meeting with, and now we know it's Simon, or at least in this situation. More on that in a future video, but for now let's go over the dialogue. Negan says, "Appears our friends had an escape plan, they're out there somewhere." And as he says this, we get shown clips of Sadiq and Carl above the sewer entrance, along with Alexandrians hiding in the sewers. Now the Alexandrians in the sewers is nothing special, but the clip of Carl and Sadiq, is this a flashback to when Sadiq and and Carl first got to Alexandria? Like, how does that clip there fit into the timeline? I thought that this is maybe them escaping and going to the hilltop, but that house behind them seems completely intact, so is this before Negan attacked Alexandria? Now, moving on, I believe we hear Dwight saying the same thing that we heard him say to Rosita in the sewers in the sneak peek for episode 809, but he says, "Are you sure going to the hilltop is the best plan? All of you in one place together?" And as he says this, we can see the Alexandrians actually arriving at the hilltop, confirmed. Now, it wasn't much of a surprise that they were going to get there successfully. I mean, the swamp zombies proved to be a bit of a threat, but nothing drastic. I suppose they just wanted to further tease the fact that they're going to Hilltop to regroup with everyone and just kind of solidify that so everyone knows, because they mentioned it in the 809 preview, but we kind of glossed over it, so I don't know, maybe they just wanted to kind of shove that down our throats a little bit more. So although it's not too surprising that Daryl and the group end up there, what is surprising is that we actually see Carol and Morgan there as well. So does that confirm that both of them are safe then after attempting to rescue Ezekiel? We last left off with the two of them plotting to attack Gavin's group and save Ezekiel at the kingdom, which we see a lot of in this trailer actually, but we don't see Ezekiel at the hilltop with Morgan, Carol, and that Sam kid. So where is Ezekiel? Did Gavin get away with him after all? Also, it's kind of lame that they just showed Carol and Morgan at the hilltop. They didn't have to do that. It'll just ruin any suspense of Morgan and Carol possibly dying at the kingdom. But anyways, we see Carol extremely happy to finally see Daryl and the others after everything that's happened this season, but her smile instantly fades into concern as she probably noticed either Rick and Michonne without Carl or just the absence of all three of them. Now, the clip concludes with Daryl just saying what he said from the 809 sneak peek as well, saying that all of us together will be their worst damn nightmare, as far as all of them being at the hilltop together.
Niggas gonna kill you.
I ferried my people to freedom.
I made a choice I could live with.
If we have to take them, we take them. You versus all of them, they don't stand a chance.
Once I clip Rick, everything's aces again.
They have weapons, people.
We can take them one by one.
Alright, moving on to the next chunk of the trailer, we can see Morgan luring zombies just like the trailer beforehand, along with Sadiq and Daryl starting to attack the forest swamp walkers. Now, the clip after that shows what looks like Michonne and Rick climbing on top of some sort of huge mattress or like sandbag or something in order to escape a bunch of zombies. So are they at Alexandria or are they at the junkyard? Because that honestly looks like a pile of junk. If so, why are there a bunch of zombies there? Did Simon direct a zombie horde at the junkyard? Anyways, the next clip shows Rick and Michonne with fire extinguishers at Alexandria fighting off a bunch of zombies, which is actually the scene that one of the recent promo images was based off of. Next up, we get some dialogue between Gavin and Ezekiel. Gavin says, "Negan's gonna kill you," and Ezekiel replies, "I ferried my people to freedom, I made a choice I can live with." Once again, the fate of Ezekiel is still up in the air. I really didn't think that King Ezekiel's life was in danger at all this season. He has so much potential, he was just introduced last season, but now they're starting to make me worry, and maybe that's the point, but it's working. Like, will Gavin actually manage to get Ezekiel back to the sanctuary? They showed clips of Carol and Morgan back at the hilltop, but all we see of Gavin and Ezekiel in the trailer is them at the kingdom still, so at least they aren't spoiling that too, at least for now. Alright, so the clips we see while Ezekiel is speaking his dialogue actually has me very interested but also very confused. First, we see a bunch of saviors bringing in a huge crate of some sort. At first I thought it was probably a bunch of guns or some sort of weapon cache. Now we see a clip of the crate opened and it looks like there's a body inside with Negan using like an electric drill on the face. Now, there are three main options here. The first is that it's just a dead zombie that Negan is using to coat all the savior weapons with, like the zombie guts and whatnot, and I actually have a full video up on the channel discussing Negan poisoning the savior weapons with zombie guts, so be sure to check that out for a full explanation if you haven't yet already. Now, when you look at the arms of the body that Negan is drilling into in that box, the skin still looks fresh, as if the person was still alive and Negan just killed them, or maybe they just recently died. It could have been a zombie of someone who was recently killed, but what if it was a main character? Who is in the box? Another topic I'll have to sadly save for another video is actually Jada sitting alone on top of a junk pile. She looks sad, run down, and honestly about to cry. Looks like my prediction about Simon's group taking out the junkyard people is probably correct, but again, just like I said in my previous video about the last trailer, I'll be creating an entire video about it tomorrow or something. I was honestly going to create the junkyard group video yesterday, but then this minute-and-a-half trailer came out and it kinda overwhelmed me. I'm definitely happy that we're getting more trailers, and by all means keep it coming. Sneak peeks as well, promo images too, but there's just so much to break down and discuss, and I am so excited to jump into every situation as I dedicate entire videos to each and every topic we find necessary, but geez, there's a lot to discuss. Anyway, so next up we can see Carol talking to that woman from the kingdom. I'm unsure if what I'm hearing here is correct, but I believe Carol says, if we have to take them, you take them. The woman responds, you versus all of them? They don't stand a chance. As she says this dialogue, we cut to yet again another scene from a promo image along with a clip of Carol jumping out from behind Ezekiel's throne in order to attack Gavin's group. We also see a clip where the doors blow open behind Ezekiel and Gavin, but here we also get a new clip of what looks like Ezekiel diving down in between rows of chairs. At the end of this segment of the trailer, we can see Carol and Morgan shooting out from behind Ezekiel's stage, so what I'm assuming happens is they come out and start shooting, Carol dives behind the throne and starts shooting from behind there as well. We also see more clips of Morgan going apeshit with his staff, so we have some more Savior Redshirt killing to look forward to, I guess. Moving on, we have more dialogue from Negan, who I assume is still talking to Simon. He says, once I clip Rick, everything is aces. Pretty clear statement. He's just saying that once he takes down the head of the rebellion, they'll stagger and not be as dangerous, which is exactly why I'm still shaking my head at Simon for not capturing Maggie as a prisoner, but I already have an entire video discussing that, so I digress. The final thing I wanted to quickly discuss from this segment of the trailer was Rick and Michonne, along with the fact that they're going to the junkyard group to speak with Jadis one more time. They retreated when Rick was trying to march towards the sanctuary with them previously, and here we can see Rick saying they have people, they have guns, as he's most likely trying to discuss with Michonne why he's so set on going back to get their help again. We didn't actually see Rick and Michonne arrive at the hilltop alongside Daryl, Rosita, and the rest of the Alexandrians, so they're probably headed straight for the junkyard. But we can also see Simon pointing a gun at Jadis' people, and I feel like a broken record at this point for what I'm about to say, so my apologies, but there's just so much to discuss already in this trailer. My OCD is screaming at me to save my opinion about this instead and create an entire video on the junkyard group, so as I said earlier, I'll just have to do that. Look out for it in the near future once I compile everything and organize all my opinions and everything I have to say about the matter.
You chose my side, and I'm here to help you beat Negan.
You set this course. Who's next?
I'm gonna kill you.
I stop people from dying. I am the answer.
Alright, so in the final segment for the trailer, we start out with some dialogue of Dwight discussing what side he's chosen. It looks like he's talking to Tara beside him in the woods, and this looks like the same scene as when Tara was actually pointing her silenced pistol to the side of Dwight's head. Dwight is pleading his case once again, stating that he's chosen his side and that he's here to help them beat Negan. For the longest time, Tara and Daryl were just putting up with Dwight, still wanting to kill him afterwards. It even got to the point where Tara and Daryl decided to infiltrate the sanctuary and kill Dwight, although they never really followed through and instead just drove a truck into the side of the wall, but I digress. Tara and Daryl will still have to slowly work things out with Dwight, but it makes sense that it wouldn't all be okay after one conversation. Dwight killed Tara's girlfriend Denise at the end of season 6, and what makes it worse is he was trying to point at Daryl. And Dwight also taunted Daryl the entire time that Daryl was a prisoner at the sanctuary, and even before then because Dwight was just so brainwashed by Negan's fear and convinced that obeying him was the only way. Dwight was living in denial for so long believing this, but after everything that happened with Sherry, Dwight decided that being cucked by Negan is not the life that he wants to live, and that it's better to rise up and fight Negan alongside Rick than to be a part of the problem. Dwight is a huge chess piece in Rick's overall strategy, so he is very important, and Tara and Daryl realize this, but they will have to eventually learn to work things out with Dwight and learn how to live life alongside him afterwards. Maybe Carl's legacy of becoming a moral compass for preserving life instead of just killing everyone will rub off on Tara and Daryl as well as Rick. We'll just have to wait and see. Real quick, I wanted to bring up Father Gabriel, and what I believe is the only shot of him out of the entire trailer. We see him standing up and aiming a revolver. After Eugene dropped him the keys to escape with Dr. Carson, I assume that this is Gabriel making his way to the hilltop himself. Now, what is he aiming at? Did they come across someone along the way, or is he just aiming at a zombie? How crazy would it be if it was just like randomly Sherry or Heath or something? Anyways, Gabriel seems to be feeling better, considering that he's standing up confidently pointing a gun at something, but his eyes still look bloodshot. I'm glad that he seems to be recovering, but it's still probably only thanks to Dr. Carson. Oh, and speaking of Eugene, I know that we get another angle of him creating a bullet with one of Negan's wives sitting beside him, but I'm going to save that discussion for a separate video focusing on Eugene creating ammo for Negan, along with the guilt that it's bringing him due to his conscience. Next up, we once again get the dialogue of Negan saying, "You set this course, what's next?" Now, in the original promo trailer for episode 809 that was released near the end of 2017, we already saw Negan say this dialogue once, and Rick responds with, "You are." In this trailer, however, he just responds with, "I'm gonna kill you." Now, real original Rick, like you haven't said that a million times. And speaking of which, isn't Carl's dying message supposed to convince Rick to spare Negan's life? Like, there must be some sort of realization Rick goes through near the end of the season or something, because right here, he still seems to be as determined to kill Negan as ever. Anyways, as far as the dialogue goes, I believe when Negan says, "You set this course, what's next?" Rick actually responds with both of the lines saying, "You are, I'm gonna kill you." Although saying "I'm gonna kill you" seems a bit redundant after saying "you are" in response to Negan's "what's next," as that pretty much means the same thing, so I could be wrong, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Another huge moment that I've been wanting to make a video on, them possibly showing a flashback of the Saviors escaping the Sanctuary, along with Morgan at the Sanctuary too, and how he ended up at the Kingdom. When we left off with Morgan, he was a sniper lookout at the Sanctuary, but then he suddenly just ended up at the Kingdom listening in to Gavin talking to Ezekiel. Just like the video about Eugene, I already have most of this video mapped out and sitting on the back burner ready to be fully produced and created, but now that we have more info on it, I'll definitely hop to it and get that video out. It's just so hard to decide what videos to focus on first since I have so many to choose from, but feel free to let me know which ones you'd like to hear discussed most on the channel as well. So, I've actually seen a lot of people wonder who the hell Negan hits with his bat near the end of the trailer, but upon further inspection, it's just a zombie. We've gotten multiple shots of this scene ever since the original 809 promo trailer. It's the scene that I assume will be straight out of the comics, where Negan explains his plan to coat Savior weapons with walker guts, which, as I said earlier, I've already created a full video on recently. Now, in the comics, Negan actually rubs Lucille all over a zombie that's chained up on a fence. He even pretends to cock slap it a little with Lucille, but he does this as an example of turning a regular weapon into a very dangerous and deadly killing tool. Negan whacking a zombie near the end of the trailer is probably just him doing this, and he probably got a bit excited during his speech or something, explaining the force behind the swing. Finally, we hear Negan stating, "I stop people from dying, I am the answer." I believe that this is still Negan talking to Simon, and that they've once again started discussing the overall opinion of people being a resource, and that Negan just prefers to kill one person to save many instead of just killing everyone. And I don't know if Simon is recommending that they murder everyone at the junkyard or what, but last time he suggested that they annihilate everyone at the hilltop, for example, Negan got pretty pissed off. So what do you guys think the outcome of this conversation will be? That pretty much does it for this video, honestly. It's dragged on for long enough, and I've just been sitting here at the edge of my seat wanting to complete this so I can go work on all of those other videos, so I'll just end it off here and get started on that. If I've missed anything, feel free to let me know, along with any theories or predictions that you may have. I'd appreciate a like on the video if you've enjoyed anything I've said today, or even subscribe for more Walking Dead Season 8 content in the near future. And if you'd like to take that extra step in helping support my videos, consider checking out my Patreon, where there's a bunch of different rewards involving the channel, such as a chance to directly influence the videos being produced. It isn't necessary by any means, but it could really help in the long run. And as always, I thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.